afternoon, morning, evening, etc. Welcome to the continuation of the last day of Retrothon. My name is Lemming. I have Quest for Glory 5 Dragonfire here for you today. We're doing an any percent, no major glitches, or really in our case, no major glitch. We'll explain that when we get to it. Joining me on commentary is Reynald, who found some of the recent cool tech that made me feel that this is actually a run we're showing off. So, Reynald, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
We will get started here. We're doing the wizard class. You have 3 classes to choose from, not getting into imports. That's one thing about this game in general. We are playing the 5th and final of a 5-game series here. Kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons character, you can import your character files throughout the each game casually. So we're in a very high level D&D scenario here, and that's going to become apparent when you see some of the tasks we're going to do. In terms of our skills, we want swimming. Set swimming to yes, and we'll crank some magic there at right there, just for good measure. Time will start as when I hit play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this wizard, he teleported us here in the last game for cliffhangery reasons. Quick rundown of the plot as we walk across this very long pre-rendered background. We are here because the king of the land of Samaria is dead, assassinated, and the rites of succession in this country involve a contest of various heroic deeds, which we are going to take part in. There is an application fee, however, so we're going to talk to this wonderfully animated lion tar. If you don't know what a lion tar is, it's a half lion, half
It's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. So this fella will buy some of our magic spells the second time we meet him. So we were greeting him earlier, and now we're familiar enough to teach him some cool new spells. And then we need to pick up some critical item while we're here. And then we have just enough left over to enter the rites of rulership, which we're going to do here at the bank.
Yeah, the wizard class specifically is pretty tight in terms of routing the money, especially compared to the thief class. At the very start of the game, the first thing that the thief does is rob the bank, and that gets you more than enough money that you need for the rest of the game. The wizard doesn't have that luxury.
Let's get that fireball. Let's get that fireball back for no reason in particular. So here we are in the Hall of Kings, and here are our 4 other contestants. Magnum Opus, Elsa von Spielberg, who was in the first game. Gort, who's basically a Frankenstein's monster, and then Kokino Paramisa, I think his name is Red Shirt in Greek. I'm going to shoot a fireball at this guard.
Rude.
I just don't like him.
Why would you do that? I thought you were a hero.
I'm sick of him. He's always saying you may enter the Hall of Kings now. I always have to remember to skip it, and I always forget, and it's just annoying. Now he'll never chirp at me again about it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't bite me in the butt later.
Oh, it's fine.
So these magnets we picked up, this is actually a really cool quality of life feature in the game. This is a huge game compared to the others. It's got a big world map that you're about to see and a lot of traversing of the of the setting. So one thing you can do to get back to our main hub town here is use a mystic magnet. Basically, if you drop one of these off in a safe spot, say the trunk of your in-room, you can use the other one to teleport back here in an instant. As you can imagine, that's super duper nifty for a speedrun. So we talked over the first challenge. There are a number of rights that I suddenly forget, but the first one is we have to fend off some Roman invaders who are harassing the local fishing villages, and the first person to liberate their village wins the contest.
But first, we need some wax.
Yeah, about the first half of this run is going to be us picking up stuff that we're not going to use till later. There's basically one big puzzle for the, I think, 4 out of 6, right? Where we throw a lot of this random garbage together. By the way, big history buffs know, this is a classic Roman look. They all have these cool skeleton hats. So we're supposed to, I think, kill all these fellas. We don't have time for that. Really, all we need is a medallion from the fishing village indicating our success. Because why would they let us have this if we didn't clear it out? So we cast a calm spell on the Romans, grabbed our doodad, the sigil of Eos, and then when you leave, the Romans are just gone. They know when they're beat.
They're depressed that you stole their magic sigil.
Yeah, it's capture the flag rules.
Oh no, they got the flag. I guess we should all go home.
Yeah,
now.
they're getting back on their boats and going back to, I guess, literal Rome. This is a fantasy setting, but we just have Rome hanging out. Rome confirmed, canon. By the way, the hero doesn't normally walk like this. This is a quirk of getting the game to run in the modern era on a window. Something about it on the world map just makes me kind of fidget.
Yeah.
So last little errand here, we're gonna go to this Pegasus home and pick up some feathers again for reasons that will become apparent later.
Yeah.
It would be helpful if I had a levitate spell.
Yeah, it's the 3rd and 4th rights are the ones that have requirements where you need to have. I think it's 3 items if you count the pizza for the 3rd right, and then I believe 5 of them for the 4th right.
We should always count the pizza.
You should always count the pizza. It's very important.
It's the only pizza where we're going to do a safety save to make sure we properly deliver it.
Yes. You can deliver the pizza, and then you can deliver the pizza, and we want to do one, but not the other. But yeah, a lot of the routing in this game is actually about menu management, as is often the case in a lot of RPGs, because you can see we have the 9 quick slot items at the bottom, and so ideally we want to minimize how many times we go into the menu to drag items down into one of those quick slots. And so it's convenient where if we receive an item, if there's an empty slot, if there's an empty quick slot, then the received item automatically goes into that quick slot. And so once we receive an item and it goes there, like there, he just bought the painting because we're going to need to use the painting very shortly. We don't want to have to go fishing in our inventory to go find it again.
Hey, are those guards still mad at us?
I think they might be.
Oh gosh. Here. Oh
no.
Good. They're professionals
Okay.
At least. They let us churn in the quest.
Boy, it was real convenient that the guards were just standing right in front of you.
Yeah,
so you
imagine
could
if we
deliver
had
the
to
item.
run all the way to that gate every single time. That would sure
That would
use
just be
time.
so inconvenient. We
Yeah.
don't have time for that. We're speedrunners.
Yeah. Oh, they're still mad.
Uh,
It's kind of funny sometimes. Obviously, this is not intentional. Sometimes they will, after you get back from the cutscene, they'll still be like trying to poke you, and they'll accidentally stab each other. It's rough out there for a guard in a speedrun environment.
I haven't actually
pepperoni
had them
pizza,
die
most
yet.
important item in the game. Cannot complete it without it.
I mean, it's a Quest for Glory game, so pizza is essential.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Let's get rid of that. We need a poison cure pill for some lion tar rescuing later. Just a little bit of meta.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I have enough money to rent the boat. Good for me. So
David
this game,
PKI and Cat asked what happens if one of the guards kills the other. I think bad things happen. I haven't actually had it happen yet.
I have, just for the heck of it, killed the guards once after doing this, and you can.
Great. I have heard that
You could complete the game that way if you do it after you complete all the quests, but every other guard in the city is going to be really ticked at you, so it's just kind of inconvenient. I
will let you
suspect
off in your
if
city.
one of the guards were to live, it would still work. Anyway, this is the right
Let's
of...
hope we don't find out.
This is the rite of conquest. We have to storm a castle, kill the general of the Romans, General Claudius, and and bring back his shield as proof. I need my surprise spell that will help us later. So, combat in this game was kind of a turn-off for fans of the series at first. As you can see, they didn't know about the Frostbite spell, which is completely broken. Just
Yeah, there's no cooldown using the Frostbite spell, so you can just stack multiple castings on top of each other.
This is a Centaur Wizard, hello. Goodbye, Centaur Wizard. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
That's messy.
Okay.
Whoop. Is this a PG-rated stream?
Surely, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah,
So
we're gonna wipe off some of that Centaur of this bed sheet here.
Yeah. So that mechanic right there is a kind of a callback to when you first, as a wizard, learn about the magic staff. You make your own magic staff, and they warn you, don't cast the trigger spell because that'll make your staff explode. And it turns out you can use that to your advantage against an opposing wizard that has a magic staff.
It's a really remarkable, it's a really remarkable thing to remember to put in your game. Like 2 games later, it's a great touch. I'm very impressed they sought to add that in. So we only really have one major, as it relates to kingship, one major combat challenge left. Here's the shield. Oh, they didn't even get a hit that time. So one downside to making our quest giver guards follow us around is it does. Oops, I turned on borderless window.
Uh-oh.
Meant something a little bit different back in '98. Here's our buddy Rakesh. Say hi, Rakesh. Bye, Rakesh. Oh no, cloaked man. Rakesh, look out! Cloaked man. Look. Oh, we didn't even see him coming.
How could that happen? That's tragic.
Normally that happens a little bit quicker, but the angry guards kind of trip up the pathing of the assassin there. So it's like the one downside to this chasing guard tech is it makes that cutscene extra janky.
Yeah. Across all 7 rights, it does overall save time, even if you lose time to the assassin there. But
yeah, it's overall a plus. So we need to kill a Hydra. This is that's the Rite of Valor. It's a very dangerous Hydra. It sits on a remote island, not bothering anybody, so naturally we have to kill it. Fortunately, we got a magic axe, which is good because we need a magical weapon to harm the Hydra. The bad news is that the axe is awful. It's like the worst possible weapon. The animation to attack is so freakishly slow. This was kind of a classic issue with a couple of games from Sierra back in this era where they're trying to expand beyond point and click and like, oh, all new games need to be 3D and have like some action elements to it. Well, okay, but they kind of failed to consider that having a weapon of good DPS also involves the animation of the character being able to actually hit quickly with it, and the axe just has this comically long windup.
yeah, and the thing that makes it especially egregious is that normally the ideal weapon to use against the Hydra is a magic spear. And we have to use a weapon because the Hydra is immune to magic spells, so we cannot use Frostbite to damage it. But if we want to use the magic spear because it has such a fast startup animation, and then we can use animation canceling to cancel out of the recovery animation and attack immediately again. With the axe, we can't do that because it's a long startup animation, and we can't cancel out of that without also canceling out of the attack itself.
Yeah, and sadly the wizard is harder for cash just because we find a solution so quickly early in the game, which is it's good and fast, but it does stick us with the whoops. I failed my scientist test.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Got to retake the exam.
This is always kind of a funny part of the game. You have to answer the scientist quiz, which is mostly jokes and stroking their ego that they're weird ivory tower here. I like this one. What is a quark? A bartender on a space station, a particle of an atom, all of the above. Good DS9 joke here in '98. And okay, good. It's 6 o'clock. There's a scientist here we have to bribe with pizza, but the one that likes pepperoni and pepper pizza, which I've set up, is only here on this day. I'm gonna safety save here because you can accidentally throw the pizza at him.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
you do. I am Dr.
Which is hilarious, but it is a run killer.
Because we only got the one pizza.
I am so this game is not as well regarded as the others in the series, and I, Reynal, and a few others in the speedrunning world are very we're QFG5 apologists. One thing that is truly awful, like just a serious blunder from the dev team on this game, is that they let you throw pizzas at enemies, but they don't do any damage. Like, our dream of a pizza percent speedrun is just dashed upon the rocks until we can find a way to, like, glitch some damage
Heartbreak
out
when we
into
realized it did no damage.
Yeah, it's such a shame.
That I will not apologize for.
It's probably for the best. That run would take hours upon hours. But, I mean, that's the other thing about this, is that magic in this game, as with all the games in the series, is totally busted. And we absolutely take advantage of that.
Yes. But unfortunately, we can't hear for the Hydra fight. So the Hydra fight is one of the things that is definitely very different for the Wizard compared to the others. Our friend Elsa is going to join us and help us to kill the Hydra. And the way that it works is that one of you two will deal damage to the Hydra, but then as with the classic mythological the Hydra will grow their heads back unless you burn the stump off. So that's the task of the other one. All the other classes have the choice of damaging the Hydra or burning off the stumps, except for the Wizard. The Wizard has to burn the stumps off, which means we have to wait for Elsa to deal enough damage, and because Elsa is AI controlled.
Wow, she's actually.
She can.
No.
She can,
All right, there's the Elsa I know.
There we go. Yes. Right at the last second. Because we have to wait for Elsa, and sometimes she takes damage, and she has to take several seconds to heal herself. The waiting there's a lot of randomness to it, and so a lot of what we do with the Wizard route is we don't want to actually kill off the heads, because if you kill off one of the heads on the sides, you can only burn off the stumps from the front, and it takes too long to run back around to the front to burn off the stumps. So the trick is to get the heads down just enough so that it doesn't take Elsa that long. Yeah, I don't know if Lemming's going to make it for this one.
Woo! Oh, that was close.
That was very close. Yeah, indeed. So basically we soften up the heads as much as we can, but not too much, because again, if Elsa finishes off one of the heads before we have enough time to run around back to the front, then she has to kill off the head from scratch again. So that was a pretty good Hydra fight.
Yeah, that went about as
far
well
as
as
it
it possibly could in the marathon. I will take it.
Yeah, it's very delicate, where you want to soften up the heads as much as you can, but not too much so that Elsa ends up finishing off the heads too soon. Yeah. And again, there's so much.
Despite her questionable help there, we are going to give her the Hydra teeth, which signifies her as the victor for this rite. We're not doing that out of the kindness of our hearts, really. We're doing it because this way we can just turn the quest by sleeping. The guards will pick us up in the morning, and I realized I've made a critical error, and we're gonna have to magnet back to No Man to get the sheet. But that's a huge problem.
You forgot to give the sheets.
Yeah, we'll live.
That's okay.
Just a little bit of extra walking. Oh well. This is a great example of why the magnet is really handy. If you forget something back in Samara, you can always pop over to your hub and do it. So what we need is this next rite is the Rite of Destiny. We have to get to an unreachable island, throw a coin in a mystic fountain, and hear our future from a prophetess. And to do that, we have to make a hot air balloon. That's why we were showing a picture of a hot air balloon to various people earlier. That's kind of a blink and you'll miss it task, but we have to teach them the concept of a balloon so they can give us various equipment to make it. The proprietor of the inn, the Gnome Ann, No Man's Inn. Gnome Ann, No Man. Did you guys get that? Okay. She sewed together one of her bed sheets to make a hot air balloon sheet for us. We got some weird goo labeled as such from the Hydra Island to make it all hardy and flame resistant. We got a brazier to keep as our fire source. And then inside the Hydra's cave, we got the almighty rope. which you cannot buy
Very important
in
item.
Somaria unless you are part of the criminal element that only see you sell ropes in Somaria. So we had to go to a Hydra's glorious treasure hoard to pick it up. But that's all the equipment we need to make a balloon. It's kind of our RPG airship for mid to late game. We're only going to use it the one time though. But after that,
definitely
a lot
one
of
of
this
the
fancy menuing will be sorted out.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of free space in our quick slots for any future items we need. But yeah, the Hydra balloon quest is definitely one that probably trips up a lot of casual players, especially considering there's a fair amount of overlap with the previous quest, the previous rite, where you need to fly over to Hydra Island, and now you need to fly over to the Oracle. And so both quests involve combining a certain number of items so that you can fly, but you can start the fourth rite before you finish the third rite. And so which means of flying do you need to get to the appropriate island? It definitely tripped me up as a kid.
I'm pretty sure I used a walkthrough for this bit. Like, I figured out half of it, but the sheer number of items you need to, like, make it work, it's a little bit tedious casually because you have to go all the way to this mist-looking part of the game. This is Science Island, where we found our little wings to fly to the Hydra earlier, and now we're going to get this gondola to flip it all together. It's so out of the way, so, like, if you don't already have everything you need, it's kind of tedious to keep coming back here. But maybe that's just how the scientists like it. Who am I to judge? And we're just slapping this all together. Here we go, our own high wind. Fly into the skies. Oh, it's so fast too. Whee!
We'll be there in no time.
Alright, we don't need, these spells are not like critical items I need just yet. I just might as well queue them up now for later. So yeah, all of the world quality to them. This game really takes it to 11 with how big the map is, but even going back to Quest for Glory 1 from like 1980, I want to say 88, the game's pretty open-ended in how you approach it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would describe Quest for Glory 1 as a very flat game. Like, a lot of the game is accessible to you very early. It's just a question of, do you have the space mapped out? Do you know what you need to do to get to the various locations, to get to the various key items? And so you can do almost everything in almost any order that you want, kind of. I mean, like, the main quests have to be done in a certain order, but there's just a lot of subtasks that you can do in various orders. And that's sort of the case in Quest for Glory 5, but definitely the rites of rulership do enforce a very specific order of all 7 rites have to be done in that exact order. And some parts of those rites don't even become available to you until later on.
Yeah, for the sheer increase in length of the game, this one's actually pretty linear by the standards of the franchise. All right, let's turn in our literal proof of destiny. Got a quick little stab in. Fortunately, this game heals you twice. Once when you turn in the MacGuffin, and then a second time when you enter the hall, which mostly guarantees you're not going to be murdered by those guards as they're casually stabbing us while we wait for the cutscene to play.
Yeah, the return from Hades is probably the one part where you might run into some trouble with the guards.
We're pretty good. The Hydra did not really put a dent in our healing pill supply, so we should be okay there. I messed up the timing on that. Anyway, Reynald just alluded to the next rite. We have to... this is the rite of courage. And, excuse you, there are random encounters in this game. We've actually been pretty blessed to avoid them so far. We have to go into Hades and pick up some water from the river Styx to show how willing we are to do blatantly dangerous things. So one thing we skip in the speed run is there actually is a character in the game who's an old veteran adventurer, and he tells us a lot of local Greek legends that are kind of veiled puzzles to do. But you can just meta it by knowing what to do in the case of moving one bit of water to this part of the water, which does open us to the speedrunner's creed here. It seems an odd thing to do, and you're not really sure why you're doing it, but you obviously have nothing better to do. And if that does not summarize my approach to speedrunning, I don't know what does. Anyway, so doing all of that will open up a gate to Hades, and we're going to be greeted by old Cerberus, who you can either fight or you can bribe him with various food and candy items. Each head wants something different.
Or you can avoid eye contact.
Yeah, or you can do what Reynold found out, which is you can just walk backwards. Just clip right through him. Oh, it gets me
So what happens there basically is that I discovered that when you approach the gates and Cerberus appears, your hero walks backwards to step away, like, oh, we need to make room for this three-headed dog that's approaching me. And I just had this flash of inspiration of, well, what if I'm facing away from the gate when I approach? Well, it turns out your hero still walks backwards, and your hero just walks backwards into the trigger region that causes you to enter Hades, and you never actually have to interact with Cerberus. So that was a very delightful skip that I discovered.
Unfortunately, sometimes the skeleton gets a little high on the initiative, and he'll walk up to our broken body after that jump and stab us to death. So
yeah, I'm too much of a coward. I queue up a frostbite before I jump down to make sure that the lemur is dead by the time I hit the ground, because
that's a cool idea. I might just do that for swag.
Yeah, it only it takes like a fraction of a second to queue it up, and I've only had the lemur kill me once, and that was all it took before I decided to do it safely after that.
Oh yeah, it's a very rude run killer. So I lied. There isn't actually only one criticism I have of this game, which is the no damage pizza tossing. I do have another criticism, which is I don't know what on earth they were thinking when they made Hades this large and empty. Like, everything I'm doing here, this is not speed tech. This is just what you do. Like, there's no point to killing these various ghosts and skeletons. I think they're pretty much unlimited. You don't get anything for doing it. You basically just have to hustle over this comically large pre-rendered background to get your job done. So we've been trying to find a way to skip all or part of this, and we haven't really had much luck. There is some tech related. There is some tech related to one of the levitate spells, where we can kind of get our hero here to hover a little bit, but not enough to actually traverse this big gap or really do anything useful just yet. But this whole marathon our hero's running, it's just ridiculous, and it really starts to wear on you when you're going for PB attempts.
Yeah, it's definitely a long jog, and we would love to find a skip for this. But in general, in Hades, there are two tasks that you have to accomplish. The first one, Lemming already did, which is collect the Styx water. This is the item that we need to return to complete the rite.
Oh, yeah. No, hey, everyone in chat, I need your help. We need to save either a magical fairy from the series who has been helping us out the entire game, or we can help out the villain of the Force game who kind of made everything worse for everybody, but she is a hot goss vampire. So one's in the chat for Arana, the helpful fairy, 2 for sexy vampire. Who should we save?
I think the choice is obvious.
Yeah. This is taking too long. I'm not going to choose anybody. Sorry.
What? You're a hero. Why wouldn't you save anybody?
But
why wouldn't you save anybody?
Breathing amulet. Ding.
Wow. You call yourself a hero?
I mean, the game does. I don't know if we've ever done much heroics in the non 100% speedrun categories. So yeah, I'm sorry. I did a fib. We don't save either of them. If we did, then we would have to get a cutscene of some skeletons beating us up. That's the sacrifice we do, is we lose some permanent constitution. But the real kicker is that we have to get our water breathing amulet from one of those two ladies when they're back in meat space, and we're not going to take the time to actually go over to where they are in the game and pick it up when we can just get it here.
It did look like chat was pretty evenly split between them, though.
Good, good. I mean, I feel like the larger fandom has kind of a similar similar split in terms of who they favor for who to save and who is the romantic interest. Although it is kind of a weird thing, this game. So 1998, a lot of great games breaking new barriers. A lot of old franchises really, really suffering with some very questionable 3D versions of classic franchises. This one, I would say, does a pretty good job of being a solid end to the series. Has a few things people don't like and a few questionable character portraits. Looking at you, bottom left hero. But overall, it does a lot to try and tie up the hero's journey in a neat little bow, which is more than a lot of franchises got back then. But one thing that's kind of quirky about it is it does include kind of a romance system, which is really rigorously class locked to a frankly absurd degree, where thieves really only have one romantic choice. I think wizards have the most, if I remember correctly. Irana, who was the Hydra earlier, I don't think she goes for wizards, right? It's weirdly convoluted.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, obviously the paladin kind of has to go for Irana.
Right.
I am vaguely remembering that the wizard is fairly constrained in terms of choices there. Yeah, it's been a while since I actually looked at that.
I remember casually the first time I played a thief, and I was trying to work narratively off what happens in the Forest game, where you can kind of flirt with the vampire a bit. And I was like, I'll rescue Katrina, and then I'll flirt with her within the game's mechanics. Give her flowers and candies, and then I find out that she just won't date thieves. I'm like, oh, well. I mean, I don't do a lot of thieving, and also I rescued you from eternal damnation. That's gotta count for something, right? No.
All right, we got our resident QFG expert in chat here. David TKI says, two of the romantic options can marry any class. One can marry a fighter or a wizard, and one can marry a wizard or a paladin.
Yeah, the thief is relegated to someone we're not going to see on the run, but basically a one-off gag character from the second game who only speaks in innuendo, and that's funny. I appreciate that, but it is also kind of limiting. All right, so now we're done. We're going to do the Rite of Peace. We turns out these Silmarians have not been on great terms with the Atlanteans, so we're going to go over there and explain that they need to chill out. But they will attack us on sight, and we have to make sure not to murder any of them because that apparently really tanks peace talks. So we're going to try and juke around them, cast some spells. Speaking of, let's get Calm. Calm queued up here.
Very
Calm is a delightfully broken spell in all 5 games. Really great speedrun tool.
Also really useful in peace talks.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know why someone didn't try this earlier. So first we need to enter their little unassuming sewer gate here. I'm gonna try and get the little juke.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Yeah, I have mixed results with this thing. Yep, cool. All right.
Nice.
So normally you have to kite those two out of their hidey hole, and they really hate doing that, and it's just very irritating and time-consuming. But
yeah, when you can get
here
the
found a
clip,
way
it
to
takes a lot
kind
of
of
time.
shimmy into the top of it and just flip to the next map here. So that's great stuff.
Yeah, once you kind of get the positioning just right and kind of the actions that you're doing of when you're pressing the buttons and where you're clicking, it gets to be pretty consistent. That Remora up there can be quite unfriendly in terms of blocking where it is that you're trying to click. I had a very comical run where you basically covered the entire screen.
All right, peace talks commence.
So, Silmaria desires what we...
Peace talks over.
The hero with the silver tongue.
Yep. We just told her about a prophecy, which is when the king is assassinated, a bunch of bad stuff's going to happen. She was like, oh, you're right. I didn't even realize that your king being assassinated probably lines up with our whole prophecy about your king being assassinated. Here, take our statue of we won't stab you anymore. Hooray. casually you can murder them all, and she'll still give you the peace statue. She's like, we'll have peace, just please stop murdering everybody.
It's the heroic thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's actually the intended path for fighters, which is a little...
It probably is, yeah.
But there you go. What are you gonna do? Anyway, Logo's here, the unmoving centaur, is saying, we're gonna do one more rite, the rite of justice. If you could be a deer and find the assassin who murdered our king and is generally causing trouble and kill him, that would be super nifty. So, fine, fair enough. We're not super crazy about an assassin running around it either. So let's just kind of look around for him.
The amusing thing is that this assassin that we're going to look for right now, we could have killed this assassin at the very start of the game.
Yep, true. Any percent is actually a sub 5 minute run if done well. It's they stick the ambushing assassin in a wall on the screen, and you can just hit it with an AoE spell and kill him, which confuses the game and just triggers the final ending. Anyway, he's dead.
We're legitimate heroes in this route.
Yeah. It is cathartic for anyone who's played the original game. The assassin is actually a character who you cannot defeat in the first game. He will always murder you if you push your luck. So I think this meant to be like a haha, now we're good at heroing and we can just kill you in 1 second with our broken frostbite spell.
Yep. Yeah, kind of related to the tying up loose story ends. I think that this game is also sort of a greatest hits of a lot of the major characters throughout the game.
Sometimes it's welcome, sometimes it's a little bit silly, but I really appreciate what they were going for.
Yeah.
Anyway, we found out that this fellow Minos, he's behind it all, and we sting him into admitting that he knew the assassin's name, which makes him guilty. So seize him. Oh, he got away. All right. Well, let's storm his castle then, and this will probably be fine, but let's just safety.
Yeah, this part of the run is definitely the biggest reason why Lemming is running this game for the marathon and not me, because I am woefully inconsistent at this part. There are a few spots where I get very stuck.
Yeah, so we have the open spell, which is also a very busted tool, but the trade-off is you need to cast it when no one's trying to murder you, so that's where the calm spell comes in. But we have to be a little bit thoughtful about where we cast our calm spell, because there is a limiting range to it. So sometimes, like, here we go, we got one guy who's still... Hey, excuse you. All right. I think we're good. No, okay. Let's excuse you. Thank you. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We opened the door. What's weird is if you do the true any percent, these centaur wizards are not here causing trouble.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's strange. I'm not sure why. So this whole room's a little bit easier than the true any percent. All right, so all right, community meme commencing in 3, 2, 1. You think you won, do you? You are mistaken. I will not be defeated. I will destroy everything, and you both will die. I hold the prophecy stone in my hands. When it breaks, the dark dragon will rise to destroy all of Silmaria. If I cannot rule what is rightfully mine, then I shall destroy it. You cannot stop me. No one can stop me. I am your doom. So yeah, across 5 games, a solid decade of video game development, that is the one bit of unskippable dialogue. So we've heard that guy rant Dodd for a long time now, and his whole speech has become kind of a staple of QFG runner. And,
yeah, I would have joined you on that one, but I thought the risk was too high that we would be DC.
Yeah,
that just would have been an unpleasant experience.
Create like an infinite echo of Minos monologue.
All right, final boss of the game. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, the added bonus is that Minos is kind of a unremarkable villain. He's fine, but he's just kind of there. So anyway, as he explained very thoughtfully in the speech, he held the prophecy stone. It's not working. Redo. Boop. There we go.
Yeah, I never feel like I get a good sense of where the dragon's hitbox is, which can be an issue on both the phases of the fight.
Yeah, it can be kooky. Anyway, Minos set forth a giant dragon to burn down Samaria, so we have to have the ultimate battle with it. I think you can see it's so powerful that it doesn't get murdered immediately by crossbar. It actually takes a few minutes. Let's see if I got this skip here correctly. I did! Wow! Okay.
Excellent.
Hooray!
Very nice.
Yeah, so you can... your spell AoE effects stay in place if you just pause the game. So we were able to keep the dragon in one spot to kind of cold it to oblivion. Anyway, time is coming up when we accept or refuse the Kingdom of Samaria here, which is now. Alright, fairly clean. Hope you all got a kick out of that.
What was our final time? It's...
Yeah, sadly, my Retrothon timer did not get along with this game. It refused to work. So,
looks like
thank you,
I just checked
staff.
the stream. It's 39:25.
Nice. That's pretty good for the blunder with the zone cheat and everything. Anyway, this game has a nice little review of all the stuff you did and then all the stuff you didn't do. People we didn't visit, things we didn't do. Mysteries we did not solve. This game actually has a pretty rich side quest quality to it. I love this game dearly. I know it's kind of in that rough period of 3D games where everything kind of looks a little, but I think they do a great job with it. And if you want to explore the series, please do. These games are super duper cheap on GOG and Steam all as a bundle. If you are a fan of the series and you always were kind of like iffy about this game, try it. I promise it's aged pretty well. Or just frostbite everything if you're nervous about combat. I mean, there are busted solutions to having a good time. But yeah, thank you everybody, and thanks for letting me show this off at Retrothon. Oh, do we want to save our character for the next game? No, there never was a next game. And we got some nice Victorious credits here, so appreciate that, everybody. And Lori Cole here is the designer of her husband Corey Cole across all 5 games, so it's nice to see the original brains behind the whole franchise stick with it throughout all 5 games. And they actually still make games in kind of the legally distinct but kind of the same fantasy setting. So check those out. Translator Games. They have 2 other games in the area. Anyway, that is all my plugs. Thank you so much, and I will hopefully see you next year.